Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's second video, doing USA forecast for today's second video. So, as was on a Wednesday, we're having a look at the weather for the next week to 10 days in detail of the United States. We'll be able to extend out beyond that with extended CFS as well, so that will run to around 4 weeks. We'll see what that's showing of the United States, also taking us well into October. So I shall get on that for you in a second. Just say the first video release was our 7 AM forecast. We've got a 10 to 14 day with all of the rate features coming up for you this afternoon. And then tonight, a little bit different, I'm going to have the GMA seasonal update released at around 7 PM, I would have thought. And we'll have a look at the next 3 months in detail, but we'll also extend to the winter with the GMA as well. So that could be an interesting watch for you around 7 PM this evening. Right, please like, share, subscribe on all of the videos. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. Right, going to start off in the Tropical Atlantic then, this USA forecast. So, we have got various disturbance areas. None of them at the moment going to impact United States. We've got Tropical Depression Peter, Tropical Depression Rose. Neither of those are going to directly impact the States. Let's have a look at Peter. And go here, we can see that that's just going to stay out in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean and go post-tropical by tomorrow. Also got Tropical Depression Rose. That also is going to stay out in the middle of the Atlantic and go post-tropical by the weekend. This yellow X just here is Disturbance 2. That's not going to impact the United States either. And then we've got this red X down here, which is Disturbance 1, with a 80% chance of cyclone formation in the next 2 days, and a 9% chance in the next 5 days. So that's very likely to become our next hurricane. Could well become a major hurricane next week. So let's see whether that is predicted to impact the United States by going here. This is the latest midnight GFS run from tropicaltidbits.com. So we can see that we've got Rose and also Peter, those two areas of low pressure just there, and then that's the disturbance area up here. Then the red X, the disturbance area, is going to be somewhere around there, I would have thought. So running on through the next few days, we can see that, yes, indeed, Peter and Rose sort of fizzle away. There they are, just there. But this is the disturbance area here, which already is probably down to a tropical storm or a Category 1 hurricane at this point. This is on Saturday. 982 area of low pressure starting to push through the tropical Atlantic. As we go through the weekend and into next week, that starts to deepen like mad and does become, seemingly a major hurricane down to 958 millibars by this point. This is Wednesday next week, so a very, very intense area of low pressure by then. I would have thought that's probably reaching Category 3 hurricane status at 958 millibars. Again, nowhere near the United States at this point, but beginning to head towards the Caribbean. Anyway, they start pushing northwards, possibly pushing towards Bermuda, so the Bermuda Islands might get an impact from that. Again, looks very significant, 962 millibar area of low pressure at that point. Is it going to get anywhere near the States? No, it starts to curve out into the North Atlantic. We're a long way out, though, now. This is Sunday, the 3rd of October, but not getting to the east coast of America on this GFS run. Curving in that direction. Another low is beginning to develop through the tropical Atlantic, and then there's something else coming off the coast of Africa as well. That one doesn't make it into a storm, but the low pressure here could well be a tropical storm. This is Wednesday the 6th of October, very long way out now, of course, but that could be another tropical storm and or hurricane beginning to develop then. No direct impacts on the United States on this GFS run in the next couple of weeks, but obviously, again, it's big hurricane season, and so the United States has got to be aware of potential impacts, and particularly with this storm just here, because whilst this GFS run, moves that up to Bermuda and then curves it out into the Atlantic, it could go in another direction. It's not impossible, but it might do. So, I mean, it's a long way off. That is like, that's over a week away. So, yes, I think that will need to be kept a close eye on. Particularly, I think, for like the eastern seaboard of America again. I wouldn't be overly surprised if it did something like that. I had quite a few of these hurricanes and whatnot going towards New England and this northeastern part of America this season. So I wouldn't be completely surprised if this one went in that direction. As I say, at the moment, GFS is curving it in that direction once it gets past Bermuda. But I think we need to keep a watch on that, and I'm sure the National Hurricane Center will be keeping a close eye on it. These were GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles. Let's go to Columbus in Ohio today. So the red line is 30-year upper air temperature average. We're starting off a little bit warmer than average at the moment, but it's going to go pretty cool actually over the next 24 hours or so. We are going to be seeing a drop in the temperature. So yeah, going to feel, properly fall-like. Into next week, there's a bit of a warm-up taking place, so the temperatures will recover. There's only a brief sort of swipe of autumn, and then temperatures will recover and start to lift back up through the course of next week. Generally looking quite warm across most parts of Northern America as we go into next week. Precipitation-wise, this drop in temperature is also associated with an active area of low pressure and weather front, so there will be heavy rain, maybe thunder, heralding that drop in the temperature. But it will go relatively dry for a few days, perhaps a little bit more unsettled though over the weekend and into next week, but not overly so. Actually, that's a relatively dry ensemble, especially for the time of the year. Temperature anomalies from the 22nd to the 30th of September. Most areas looking warmer than average, especially so in these western, northwestern areas, looking particularly hot again, pretty much of the western part of the United States. East areas are a little bit cooler, so particularly through the Midwest, it's cooler, and down to the Gulf Coast, the East Coast itself is actually a little bit on the warmer than average side. And the precipitation anomaly, many areas looking dry, although, again, the Midwest up to the Northeast is looking rather wetter, but most central and western parts of states, and in the South too, away from Texas anyway, looking relatively dry in the week ahead. Right, so this is how the latest GFS run is looking. So we've got an area of low pressure here sitting through the Midwest and pushing into the east. That's bringing cooler temperatures with it, and also heavy rain as well. Meanwhile, further west, we're close to a ridge of high pressure through there. Upper air temperatures look like that. So it is cooling down through the Midwest. These cooler upper air temperatures will be pushing eastwards with this area of low pressure and its heavy rain over the next couple of days. Out in the west, it's relatively warm, pretty hot still down in the southwest. So we go through to Thursday and Friday. We find that area of low pressure drifting northeastwards in towards northeastern parts of America. Same time, pressure begins to rise from the south. That starts to draw warmer air back up from the south as we go towards the end of the week. So it's only a temporary sort of swipe of autumn, really, into the Midwest and the northeast. And then temperatures will begin to recover. And on the East Coast, it probably never cools down, really. I'm not sure the coolest of the ever really gets to the eastern seaboard. Out to west, again, high pressure dominating across these western parts of America as we go into the end of the week. Over the weekend, again, this ridge of high pressure pushing northwards into northeast parts of America. There's another low beginning to develop here around central parts of the northern part of America. And as we push on into next week, find that low pressure again trying to drift through. So upper air temperature actually getting hotter through the weekend into next week, spreading out from the west into the central and then eventually into midwestern states. East areas perhaps looking a little bit cooler, but even there it's still pretty warm. So next week it's generally quite a warm scene across much of America. And then this next low will push through the northern part of the states again, probably bringing some heavy rain, maybe some thunderstorms, and lowering the temperature from the north once more. For high pressure begins to take over again across the central, northern, eastern parts of America towards the end of the month. At the same time, low pressure is beginning to develop out to the west, so we might start to see some heavy showers and thunderstorms through California towards Arizona, for example, Nevada. Again, just indicative of the changing time of year, changing season. So we might start to see some heavy rain and thunderstorms beginning to break out across those western and southwestern parts of America as this ridge builds through the east and into the Midwest, bringing a lot of dry and quite warm weather. Although nights could be quite cold. Remember, it's going into October, so under high pressure, it is going to start to get quite cold, I think, even if the days are relatively warm. And then up-to-date temperatures, Saturday 2nd of October. Again, high pressure dominating across many of these southern, central, eastern and midwestern states. Out to west, it's a little bit more unsettled, though. There's areas of low pressure knocking around that could bring some showers and some longer spells of rain. Upper air temperatures look like that. So cool air is trying to dig in from Canada into the northeast, but otherwise it's generally quite a warmish scene still across many parts of America lingering sort of Indian summer type weather. And then move to the end of the GFS when the high pressure begins to drift over to the east. Looks increasingly unsettled and cool out to the northwest, doesn't it? Definitely hints of cooler air digging in from the north, maybe even colder air digging in from the north into these northwestern states, and probably with outbreaks of rain, maybe, over the Rockies, could be some snowfalls with that trough of low pressure. Meanwhile, in the east, the warm spell goes on, high pressure continues to sit across these eastern, northeastern states, still bringing up the air from the south. So although nights probably will be quite cold under this area of high pressure by this point, daytime should be relatively warm. That's how the upper air temperatures look. Hottest upper air temperatures are out in the west, but over in the east, it's still generally quite warm up to the end of the GFS run, which gets us to the 8th of October. ECM, Euro looks like this. So, again, today we've got this trough digging through the Midwest. That will be lowering the temperature, bringing some heavy rain with it. As the upper air temperatures today showing relatively warm in the east, but we've got these cooler upper air temperatures in the Midwest, and they will be pushing eastwards with this area of low pressure, bringing heavy rain and a drop in temperature through the Midwest and towards the east as we go into the second half of the week. Never quite makes it onto the eastern seaboard, though. The ridge keeps below at bay, so the cool air is really through the Midwest and just trying to get in towards those eastern states. But as I say, on the coast itself, the ridge keeps that low and it's cooler air at bay. At the same time, out in west, it looks generally quite hot through there. The low pressure begins to push back up towards Canada as we go into weekend, and pressure starts to rise from the south. Although, having said that, still looks generally quite cool and showery, I think, here through the Midwest, and probably turning a bit cooler over on the east coast there as well. Into early part of next week, again, the low pressure sort of recedes back to Canada. High pressure starts to push up from the south, bringing lots of dry and quite warm weather to both southern and eastern states. As we get through towards the middle of next week, high pressure pushing down from Canada, a little bit different to what the GFS was showing. High pressure pushing down from Canada. That's quite a cool ridge anyway. That does bring much cooler air to these eastern and northeastern states, probably with heavy showers along with spells of rain as well. And that's how we look as get to the end of the ECM. It is rather different to what the GFS is showing. A large area of high pressure is pushed down from Canada into the Midwest. On the eastern side of that high pressure, cool air is being drawn in, maybe quite cold air being drawn in down the east coast. The upper air temperatures look like that, significantly lower across the Midwest and the east by day 10 compared to what the GFS is showing. Hot out in those western states, but definitely the ECM is the cooler of the two options for many northern and eastern parts of America, albeit with a lot of dry and fine weather under the high pressure, but it is quite a cold ridge that's digging in from Canada there. So, a bit of a discrepancy by days 8, 9, 10 with the GFS and the ECMWF. Finally, CFSV2 for the next 4 weeks. These are 500 millibar heights broken down into week periods. The first week period takes us from the 21st to 27th of September. Coming week has a ridge in the northeast, a trough through the Midwest trying to push in towards the east, and a ridge is out in the west. Week 2 is the 28th of September to 4th of October, just generally dominated by a lot of high pressure in these northern states, to be honest. Week 3 is going to be the 5th through to the 11th of October, again with a lot of high pressure across these northern states. And week 4, there's a bit of a hint of low pressure across the south by way. That might be some sort of tropical feature that one is picking up on there towards the Gulf Coast. And then week 4 is going to be the 12th through to the 18th of October, where we're getting quite a bit of high pressure in the east and in the northeast. How that works out temperature-wise, is that we have a northwest-southeast split. This week, week 1, 21st, 27th, 7th of September, it's warmer in the west and north and northwest. It's cooler, particularly cool actually, quite cold even, through the Midwest into those southeastern and eastern states, although the eastern seaboard itself probably just about hangs on to relatively warm temperatures. That goes on to some degree into week 2 as well, 28th of September, 4th of October. It's definitely like the west and the northwest that the focus is for the hottest temperatures. Coolest temperatures are through those southern and eastern, southeastern parts of America. Week 3 is the 5th through to the 11th of October. Most parts of the states look hotter than average at this point, or warmer than average. The southern states, so a little bit cooler. Again, that might be some sort of tropical feature cooling things down in the south. And then week 4 is the 12th through to the 18th of October, just looking generally quite warm then across most parts of America. Precipitation-wise, week 1, 21st, 27th of September, wetter than average in the east and in the northeast, drier than average through these central western states and also down in the south. Week 2 is going to be the 28th of September, 4th of October. Most central and eastern, southeastern parts of America look quite dry in that week. Week 3, so I don't think that cool down actually in the southern states is associating the tropical developments, because significantly drier than average, like through the Gulf Coast, through the Gulf of Mexico and onto the Gulf Coast, and generally quite dry actually across many northern and east parts of America, a little bit wetter out in west. The southeast, around Florida and up towards Georgia and Carolinas, looks a little bit wetter. That might be tropical, tropical development. And then week 4 is the 12th through to 18th of October. Still looking pretty dry from the Gulf of Mexico, so there's not going to be much going on the Gulf Coast, if this is right. Of course, it's only a forecast. Eastern, northeast parts of America looking pretty dry as well. Wettest weather seems to be like through those southern, western, and maybe even southwestern states, where you'd expect it to be dry all of the time. But not all of the time, even in the desert areas at this time of the year. And, as we push on through the autumn, we can expect heavy showers and thunderstorms to begin to break out. Right, so that's how the USA is looking for this week. So generally, we're progressing on through autumn, through fall now, and things are cooling down, particularly if the ECM comes off. But summer will linger. Indian summer is very common for the United States, so in some areas and at times in all areas, there will be warm weather still, as you'd expect in this transitional season in a continental climate. The wider storyline, of course, continues to be what's going on in the Tropical Atlantic. It's a big hurricane season. There's no direct hit on America in today's model output, but do need to keep a close eye, of course, over the next few weeks for any further developments and impacts on the states from these hurricanes. Right, we'll do USA forecast for you all over again next week. If you've enjoyed the video, please like, share, subscribe. Thanks so much for doing that. And we're going to be back later on with 10 to 14 there for the UK and for Europe. And then we will have a look at the GMA season model tonight at around 7 p.m. This USA forecast, that's all for now, and thanks for watching.